Scamming scammers. In the global scam economy, billions change hands every year, sometimes in a single click. But what happens when the masterminds behind these schemes are scam artists? And the victims? We're diving deep into the wildest moments when scammers scam another scammer, losing everything from $50 to $75 billion in the process. From Vegas influencers to dark web hackers, these are the stories where the hunter became the hunted and the scammer got scammed. Bobby Ad, better known online as Bobby Vargas, embodied the Las Vegas dream. Rolls-Royces gleaming in the driveway, mansion parties every weekend, and a social media presence overflowing with luxury hauls. Alongside her husband, Joe Hustler Vargas, she projected the image of self-made success, posing with luxury cars and flaunting designer clothes. But behind the curated feeds and motivational posts, their finances never matched the fantasy. Bobby was orchestrating a massive fraud. Once close to another similar scammer who were in the real estate business, Grant and Elena Cardone, she exploited their trust, using their credit cards and personal information to rack up over 7,400 bogus purchases. Pizza ovens, 83-inch TVs, designer handbags. Nothing was off limits. She funneled stolen money through her business, Bodella LLC, even paying employees with the proceeds. Her schemes grew bolder. When a friend lent her $100,000, Bobby repaid her with a shoebox of prop cash she'd bought online for $103,000. Meanwhile, the Cardones watched helplessly as their accounts drained. It couldn't last. Police uncovered the operation, charging Bobby with 19 felonies, from theft to money laundering. She tried to deflect blame, citing cancer and a special needs son, but the court wasn't convinced. And the Cardones weren't her only victims. Authorities suspect there are more. As the scandal erupted online, Bobby and Joe's influencer empire unraveled. Their $945,000 house, bought with a VA loan for $965,000, left them underwater from day one. Bobby's mushroom supplement business was just a front, with spending that far outpaced any real income. Grant and Joe turned on each other in a public Instagram feud, each scrambling to salvage their reputation as the truth came out and their house of cards collapsed. People were calling it, when a scammer scams another scammer. But if you think influencer scams are wild, just wait. The next story dives into a digital underworld where entire criminal syndicates turn on each other, sometimes for billions. Welcome to the slaughterhouse, where the butchers become the meat. It's called pig butchering, a scam so insidious it's become a $75 billion global industry. The playbook is chillingly methodical. Scammers, often posing as romantic interests or financial advisors, spend weeks or months building trust with their targets. Victims are fattened with affection, attention, and screenshots of fake investment returns, encouraged to invest more and more. Then, when the victim is fully committed, the scammer slaughters them, stealing everything and vanishing. But in 2024, the digital slaughterhouse began to turn on itself. As law enforcement cracked down, scammers started targeting each other. Syndicates used AI-generated personas to lure rival gangs into fake investment platforms, draining their crypto wallets and disappearing into the ether. Some operations even trafficked their own workers, forcing them to run scams under threat of violence. The U.S. Treasury sanctioned Funnel Technology, a Philippines-based company accused of facilitating these virtual currency scams. The $75 billion scam was funneled into suspicious cryptocurrency exchanges, with approximately $15 billion linked to major platforms like Coinbase. In 2024 alone, the crypto industry saw a surge in scams, with revenues potentially reaching a record-breaking $12.4 billion, according to Chainalysis. Victims have reported losses averaging over $210,000 in the United States, with some losing their entire life savings and suffering emotional trauma that can last for years. The FBI has received thousands of complaints, with reported losses exceeding $4.5 billion in 2023 alone. Despite some success in identifying and sanctioning involved entities, the decentralized and anonymous nature of cryptocurrency makes tracking and prosecuting offenders extremely challenging. The pig butchering scam is a stark reminder of the dangers lurking in the digital world. Building trust online can be a double-edged sword, and it's crucial to remain vigilant. Always verify investment opportunities and be wary of unsolicited advice or romantic advances from strangers online. Protecting yourself requires skepticism, due diligence, and an understanding that not all that glitters in the digital realm is gold. Of course, not all scams rely on technology. Sometimes it's pure charisma and a royal title. But what happens when a fake prince's crown starts to slip? The next con artist fooled the world's elite until the world fought back. For decades, Anthony Gignac lived a meticulously crafted fantasy. Born in Colombia, he transformed himself into Prince Khalid, a fabricated member of the Saudi royal family. With forged documents, counterfeit passports, and an arsenal of high-end fake jewelry, he orchestrated an elaborate con that convinced luxury brands and wealthy individuals to lavish him with gifts, credit, and unwavering trust. The results were staggering. Rolls-Royce dealerships delivered cars without hesitation. Watch sellers extended millions in credit lines. High-end retailers provided expensive merchandise on consignment, all based on the allure of promised royal wealth. Gignac's mastery lay not just in document forgery, but in relationship engineering. He strategically dropped influential names, secured invitations to exclusive events, and infiltrated elite networks with surgical precision. His fake royal status became a skeleton key, unlocking doors that remained sealed to others. He even managed to deceive fellow con artists. Perhaps most ironically, some would say Gignac's targets weren't entirely innocent victims. Luxury brands themselves operate on manufactured scarcity and inflated margins, sourcing materials from countries like China, the Philippines, and Turkey, while charging premium prices. In many ways, watching Gignac scam these establishments felt like witnessing one elaborate performance deceive another, a con artist exploiting an industry built on its own carefully constructed illusions. In total, Gignac scammed at least $10 million, living in five-star hotels and attending elite parties. But his ego became his undoing. Unable to resist flaunting his fake wealth on social media, he drew attention to himself, and eventually, his lies caught up with him. Gignac was arrested multiple times, serving prison sentences for fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny in the US and abroad. The media dubbed him the fake prince, a high-profile example of how status and prestige can blind even the most sophisticated victims. The lesson is clear. Trusting status symbols without due diligence is the quickest way to lose serious cash. Even the most convincing imposters can't outrun the truth. But the world of deception doesn't end here. Up next, a realm where hackers scam hackers, and trust is the most dangerous currency of all. On the dark web, trust is a rare commodity. Forums like Exploit, XSS, and Breach forums are supposed to be safe havens for hackers and fraudsters. But in 2023, the tables turned. Cybercriminals began scamming each other with rip-and-run tactics, taking payment for stolen data or exploits, then vanishing without delivering. Some sold fake or non-functional malware, pocketing millions from their fellow crooks. Reputation is everything in these circles. Scammers rely on vouchers, escrow services, and arbitration forums to build credibility. But as the stakes get higher, so do the risks. In one notable case, a hacker lost $130,000 after delivering a Windows kernel exploit and being ghosted by the buyer. When he posted a detailed complaint in the forum's arbitration section, he inadvertently exposed personal information that could help law enforcement track him down. These disputes sometimes involve accomplices vouching for scammers, further muddying the waters. Even within criminal communities, betrayal is common, and the very platforms designed to facilitate illicit activities are rife with deception. Ironically, the grievances aired by scammed scammers may ultimately lead to their own unmasking by authorities. But sometimes it's not just about digital deception, it's about real-world stings, hidden cameras, and a $40,000 trap. What happens when scam baiters go on the offensive? The next story is a masterclass in turning the tables. Pierogi, the mastermind behind Scammer Payback, had a plan. With a team of elite hackers and scam baiters, including secret guests and OGs from the anti-scam community, he set out to infiltrate an international scammer network and turn the tables on the criminals who prey on the vulnerable. The operation's centerpiece was a $40,000 cash drop, staged in a Lowe's parking lot. The target, a money mule dispatched by a Chinese laundering ring expecting a routine pickup. As the mule circled the lot in a Honda Odyssey, the team tracked his every move, gathering crucial details like his license plate, VIN, and even snapping a photo of his ID. Knight, one of the team's top operatives, had infiltrated a Telegram group of money launderers, posing as a scammer to convince the handler to send someone for the cash. The mule, a man from Georgia, tried to blend in by buying everyday items, but the team's surveillance left little room for error. When confronted, the mule claimed he was just there for a delivery and insisted he didn't speak English, but the evidence was overwhelming. Photos, chat logs, and video footage meticulously documented every step. Even though the local DA declined to prosecute and police were unable to intervene directly, the team handed their findings to federal investigators who opened a broader investigation into the laundering network. The impact of the sting rippled far beyond a single arrest. By hijacking scammer computers and destroying servers that held remote access to thousands of victims' devices, the team severed critical links in the scammer infrastructure. Many victims were suddenly cut off from their attackers, and the mule, rattled by the confrontation, was too shaken to attempt another pickup. The hackers remained embedded in the network, continuing to gather intelligence and disrupt operations from within. Pierogi, Knight, John Hammond, and the rest of the crew proved that with technical skill, social engineering, and relentless persistence, it's possible to strike back against international scam operations. Their work not only exposed a key player in a global laundering ring, but also sent a clear warning to the criminal underworld. The days of operating with impunity are numbered. But not every scam involves high stakes or international intrigue. Sometimes it's a simple phone call, a fake refund, and a victim who refuses to play along. The next chapter shows how a little creativity can leave scammers empty-handed. In Kolkata, two scammers, Mark Ricken and Lucas Refund, thought they'd found the perfect target. Posing as PayPal support, they tried to scam Brenda using a classic refund scheme, claiming they had accidentally deposited $46,000 into her account. But the real twist? This story is actually about how Brenda ended up hacking the scammers themselves. To be clear, I'm not suggesting Brenda is a scammer. Just thought this one was too entertaining not to include. Their plan? Pressure Brenda into withdrawing the extra cash and sending it back, all while coaching her on what to say at the bank. But Brenda wasn't fooled. She played along, dragging out the process and recording every move. She convinced the scammers to provide a mule address for the cash drop, then tried to send them a virus disguised as a photo link. The scammers, desperate and confused, clicked the link, handing over their mule address to law enforcement. In the end, Brenda's team exposed the scammers, intercepted the stolen funds, and left Mark and Lucas begging for a callback. Their script, their tools, their desperation, none of it could save them from their own greed. Brenda's team confirmed the scammers clicked her link, but didn't run the file, and successfully extracted the mule address. That address was handed to law enforcement, who can now track packages, intercept stolen funds, and identify other victims or criminals tied to the scam. The scammers, exposed and empty-handed, were left begging for a callback. Mark Ricken and Lucas Refund had the script, the tools, and the desperation, but not the brains. Instead of scamming $46,000, they handed over their mule address and got law enforcement on their trail. Don't get scammed, and if you think only big money attracts scammers, think again. Sometimes a $50 gift card is all it takes to flip the script and give the scammer a taste of their own medicine. This is another story I thought was worthy of including. So here it is. Sometimes the best revenge is simple. Savannah Kimmerer, a digital strategist, received a classic scam, an email from someone impersonating her boss, demanding 10 $100 Google Play gift cards. Instead of ignoring it, Savannah played along. She claimed to be $50 short for the purchase, convincing the scammer to send her $50 via PayPal. The scammer, thinking he was still in control, complied. Savannah continued to stall, sending a photo of an old gift card and wishing the scammer a Merry Christmas. Realizing he'd been outsmarted, the scammer vanished, leaving Savannah $50 richer and with a story that would go viral. The lesson? Patience, strategy, and a calm approach can turn even the simplest scam into a win for the good guys. But what if the scammer is the one walking into a trap? In the next story, a would-be loan shark finds himself face-to-face with the law. Thanks to one target's quick thinking, Jordan Wong thought he had an easy target. He texted TF Che, offering a quick $6,900 loan. Wong, posing as a senior financial consultant, demanded $230 as an under-the-table fee, then another $560 for legal expenses. But Che was suspicious. He checked with the bank. No loan application existed. Instead of backing down, Che reported Wong to the police and arranged a meeting under the pretense of handing over the cash. When Wong arrived, plainclothes officers were waiting. He was arrested on the spot, his scam exposed. The message was clear. Even the most convincing con can fall apart with a little due diligence and a call to the authorities. And sometimes, the most unlikely heroes are the ones who see through the lies. Up next, a Swiss grandmother who outsmarts a fake police officer and helps bring down an entire criminal ring. On May 12, 2023, a 79-year-old woman in Cham, Switzerland, received a call from someone claiming to be a police officer. Her bank funds, the caller warned, were at risk. She needed to withdraw them for safekeeping. But this grandma wasn't fooled. She coordinated with local police, pretending to comply. When a young man arrived at her home to collect the valuables, officers arrested him on the spot. The scammer was part of a larger operation targeting the elderly, but thanks to one woman's vigilance, the ring was exposed. Her story is a reminder. Skepticism and quick thinking can turn the tables on even the most convincing con. But the final twist comes from the very heart of the underworld, where scammers' own egos become their undoing. In the last chapter, the dark web's most cunning criminals accidentally hand investigators the keys to their downfall. In a cramped office on the outskirts of Kolkata, a team of young men in headsets worked the phones with ruthless efficiency. Their daily grind: impersonate tech support from HP, Apple, or Microsoft, and prey on Americans desperate for help with their computers. The company, Hire Assistance, was run by Manish, a man who juggled life between bustling Indian call centers and a lavish mansion in Texas, moving millions through a web of shell companies like Orlate Inc. and Azure Protection. The operation was a well-oiled machine. By snapping up Google ad space for HP support, they intercepted frantic calls from people who thought they were reaching real help. The agents would quickly gain remote access, then stage elaborate performances, fake virus scans, dire warnings about foreign hackers, and urgent pitches for bogus security packages that could cost hundreds. Every sensitive detail, credit cards, social security numbers, passwords, was quietly harvested and dumped into a sprawling, unsecured CRM, which ballooned to over 11,000 stolen identities. The profits were staggering. Each agent was expected to pull in $177,000 a month, and the higher-ups enjoyed the spoils. Sprawling homes in Texas, investments in liquor stores, and a steady stream of cash from coast to coast. Their U.S. businesses operated in the shadows, dodging Better Business Bureau oversight and racking up complaints from furious victims. The sense of invulnerability grew with every successful con, as if the law could never touch them. That confidence would be their undoing when a hacker, posing as James Boiler from the FBI, breached their network. The scammers responded with bravado. They mocked the intruder, boasting about their reach and daring him to try anything. Unbeknownst to them, their taunts were about to backfire spectacularly. Within minutes, the call center descended into chaos. The hacker unleashed a barrage of custom malware, crippling the operation from the inside. Computers froze, microphones died, and warning messages flashed across screens. Hidden webcams captured the panic. agents smashing keyboards, shouting in confusion, and watching their empire unravel in real time. The digital assault was just the beginning. The hacker also reported the scam's infrastructure to Google, GoDaddy, the FTC, and Homeland Security, cutting off their ability to regroup and restart. Manish and his crew had built their fortune on deception, intimidation, and the misery of others. But their empire, once seemingly untouchable, was toppled by the very FBI agent they had ridiculed. In the end, it took just one determined hacker to turn their arrogance into ashes. From Las Vegas influencers to fake princes, from digital masterminds to grandmas with nerves of steel, these stories prove one thing. In the world of scams, no one is safe, not even the scammers themselves. Trust, once weaponized, becomes a double-edged sword. The same tricks that built empires of lies can bring them crashing down. Whether it's a $75 billion crypto con or a $50 gift card hustle, the lesson is the same. Vigilance, skepticism, and a willingness to fight back are the best defenses. So the next time you get a suspicious email, a too-good-to-be-true offer, or a call from a police officer, remember, the greatest scams are the ones you never see coming. But sometimes, just sometimes, the tables turn, and the hunter becomes the hunted. Thanks for watching. Producing this video took dozens of hours of research and storytelling. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the wild world of scams, please like, subscribe, and share your own stories in the comments. For more exposés on the rich, the infamous, and the audacious, click on the next video here. Behind every fortune is a story worth telling or exposing. See you on the next one.